Kyle Brandt showing his biceps in the show. 7'12", 7'09", like Kyle. What did you have?
I was trying to be self-deprecating.
It was early in the program.
I look terrible.
Come on, you got a nice glow about you, my friend. So I'm glad you are back. I also can't wait for the next segment that you guys are going to do. There it is, right? Nicely done.
I mean, that's embarrassing.
That's number 2.
That's terrible.
Still looks pretty good, though. It's bulging out there, my friend.
Yeah.
I like it. I just can't wait for you guys to discuss whatever it is you're going to discuss in the Cool Breeze segment about Drew Brees. But it has nothing to do with Drew Brees. So, yes. So I can't wait for that. Either way, welcome back, KB. I'm glad we're all whole and back together again on the program. Now, Kay, you and the guys had talked about it at the top of the program about the fact that today is the deadline for franchise tag players to sign long-term contracts. But it appears this really isn't the year for tag players to sign the big contracts they were hoping for. Now, you can add to that list Washington guard Brandon Scherff. According to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport, Scherff and the Washington football team are not expected to reach a long-term deal today, meaning the All-Pro guard will play under the franchise tag for a second straight season, making $18 million for the 2021 campaign. Rap Sheet also reporting that Jaguars and offensive tackle Cam Robinson are not expected to get a deal either. Robinson, who has started all 16 games last season, is slated to make a little more than $13.75 million in 2021, as he'll be tasked with helping keep rookie quarterback Trevor Lawrence upright. And this could be a make-or-break season for quarterback Daniel Jones in the Big Apple. Saquon Barkley recently commented about Jones' work ethic and how he's a leader on the team. His head coach, Joe Judge, echoed those sentiments on the most recent episode of Flying Coach Podcast with Sean McVay and our very own Peter Schrager.
One thing about this guy that, I can't say enough is how everyone responds to him.
Good.
This is a guy that I didn't know before I took the job. I didn't, which is why I was so reserved in making comments about him. It wasn't even fair to him. And the more I've got to know him, and really you get to know him through watching him work. But this guy is a leader. And this is a guy that when he steps in the huddle, the guys respond to. Offensively and defensively, these guys all respond to him. He is tough. There's no hiding that. The team knows when he's got to play through some bad injuries.
Another great conversation on the podcast, Shregs. Awesome job out of you. It's going to be a telling year for Joe Judge and the Giants. I'm just wondering, though, did you get a chance to ask about Nate's basketball team at all?
Yeah.
If that came up, what's the prognosis for the following year? That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, look, Judge's kid plays with Nate's kid. They play at the same high school. And Nate will come onto the show on a Monday morning and give us news and nuggets that Ian Rappaport and I would die to have just from Joe Judge, offhanded comments that he says in the bleachers. So, Nate, let's hope that your son sticks with basketball and Joe Judge's does as well. Thank you, Will.
No doubt.
This podcast is great. If you're a Giants fan, I'm telling you, you will not leave the hour conversation feeling anything but confident that your team is going to be disciplined, accountable, and competitive this year. Judge goes deep into what he's learned from Nick Saban and what he's learned from Bill Belichick. He tells stories about Julian Edelman that'll blow you away, stories about Tom Brady. But the Daniel Jones part of it got really interesting because McVay's chiming in and nodding his head, and just they're both in awe of how tough Daniel Jones was last year and how he played through injuries. I don't think us on the outside knew the extent of the injuries and that he played through. Now, we know Colt McCoy eventually got into the lineup, but it appears from what Joe Judge was indicating, Daniel Jones was injured most of the season, played through it, and earned a lot of the respect from his teammates. So, Nate, I'll start with you. You hear Joe Judge, who does not heap praise on any of his players, going this big on Daniel Jones and how much he believes in him. Do you see it? Can he be the leader? And do you really think Daniel Jones is that guy for Big Blue in 2021?
Yeah, all respect to Joe Judge. I love the way he handles his team. I love the way he handles himself.
He is old school in that way. And he's not going to sit there and fluff your pillow and stroke your ego as a player. You get paid to do a job, show up and do your job. And when it's time for me to be critical, you better embrace it. I love hearing this because there needs to be a maturity from your quarterback year after year. So Daniel Jones being a leader, guys listening to him, following him, that's great. I know what that's like being a young receiver and seeing a young quarterback mature. But all that's fine and dandy. What about the field, though? Is he taking care of the ball at practice? Yeah. Is he going to be able to take care of the ball during the season? You know, I like to talk about numbers on offenses, but sometimes they can be misleading because guys being banged up, offensive line having troubles, or receivers not catching the ball. But there has been 39 turnovers from Daniel Jones over the last couple of years. 29 fumbles from Daniel Jones over the last couple of years. 17 of those lost. Those are on Daniel Jones. So, yeah, it's great that he's a leader and guys are following him, but has he improved in that area of his game? If he has, oh, man, this Giants offense is going to be just fine.
Yeah, that's the question. And here's the deal with Flying Coach. You come for the guest, in this case, Joe Judge. You come for the guest, you stay for McVay. McVay is a star. Peter serves him up. McVay has surged through this season. He's incredible to listen to, no matter who you're a fan of. But I would die for an inner monologue of Sean McVay right now listening to that Daniel Jones commentary from Joe Judge, the ultimate quarterback connoisseur. Is McVay saying, I don't know, lots of luck with him, coach. Or, yeah, I believe in him too. Because I look, at this point, Peter, you know it. Okay, he works hard, Daniel Jones. He's a leader. He's got a great attitude. He's very smart. Can he play? Enough of that stuff. He opens up against Denver and Washington. That might be the best two pass rushes in the entire NFL. Can you play? Because otherwise we got to move on. I love that you're tough and smart. It's all beautiful. I wonder what McVay really thinks of this kid, and I wonder what really this dude is going to be, because it is go time times 1,000 with Daniel Jones. Love Judge, love Jones. We have to play in this league. You can't just win games with good attitude and hard work.
Yeah, and I've got some support for what you're saying, Kyle. I agree with you completely. I unfortunately hit the Google machine with Sean McVay, Jared Goff, tough search. Matt Nagy, Mitchell Trubisky, tough search. And here's what I came up with. McVay on Goff, June of 2019, quote, he's got an elite mental toughness. He goes on to say, a huge part of our success as a team was due to his leadership. As long as I'm fortunate enough to be in this role, hopefully this guy's stuck with me for a long time. I love McVay. I love Joe Judge. I'm just pointing this out. Coaches say this about their quarterbacks. Can he throw? Can he limit mistakes? Make some throws. Matt Nagy on Trubisky, November 2019, quote, the thing that you love about Mitch is that he's extremely tough, Schrags.
It's pretty good argument, Kay. I can't argue. You've got the empirical data. We'll have to wait and see. But Daniel Jones, we know it. Year 3, that's when teams and players, they start looking at their quarterback and knowing, is this guy the guy, or are we ready to move on to the next one?
And we want to see it. We are rooting you on, Daniel Jones. We live in New York. We'd love to see it. Schrags, quickly, what's going on with Flying Coach? How many more episodes? What do we got?
We got one more episode next week. I would say listen to the Joe Judge one from this week, the Kyle Shanahan one from the week before. But next week, we're saving the best for last. I'm not going to give it away who it is, but you'll enjoy the conversation.
We cannot wait. Right. Flying Coach, please download it.
David Culley.
Wherever you get your podcasts on any device. We'll be